Welcome to my channel. This is Molly's Talk, where we talk issues of relationships, especially areas that we need to develop on, which we normally don't talk about. I call them relationships reviews. So today I'm going to be talking about a certain review on an area that we get in a relationship, and we normalize things like ignorance in a relationship. Have you ever wondered that we end up judging the outcome of a relationship, but we don't judge the input which we put in a relationship? You can imagine if you've got a business, there you are, you want to invest some money in a certain business. The first thing you do is definitely you look at, the projection of that kind of a business. You look into how best you can put in your shares or, a part of your stake into a certain business. So this business now will make you to analyze if this is going to be profitable to you or not. But apparently in relationships, you can imagine we get in so ignorant. You don't ask questions in the relationship. You expect the guy to tell you everything. You get into the moment someone says hi, you're always thinking of the wording. You don't even ask yourself, is the person is worthy really to word with? You start judging the person on what they do, but normally we don't ask ourselves if we find ourselves to be compatible with such a character. We expect marriage to people we can't even tolerate. We can't tolerate their behaviors, but we just want to be married to them. Then we expect that the outcome of the relationship will be better. So you find that some of the conflicts people have in a relationship are just basically from what we view to be the story we want instead of the story which is real at that moment. You can imagine if you get in a relationship, to you the great deal is for you to understand the person if they might be of a better character. Do we really want their personalities? What are we expecting in the relationship? Do we want this to be a long term or a short term? Do we want marriage out of it? Are we able to discuss, from where to go? Do you want a girlfriend, a long term girlfriend, or you just want to hook up? What is the kind of a relationship we are in? What is the commitment really? So you realize that some of the issues which I come up with, in our talk is basically going to be on issues that brings a conflict, because a conflict comes in where now your reality is being challenged now by the story which is just there in your head. You will find that sometimes you think that your relationship is going on very well because that's what you want, because that's what is in your head. You enjoy meeting up, you enjoy just, having that chat. But what kind of a quality of a chat are you expecting in the relationship? All that we are never taught on. So apparently, during the time I was dating, these were the issues which I realized later that there was something wrong with my relationship approach. So I realized what I call my relationship strategy, which I had then, where I looked at myself, my kind of way of doing a relationship, what my approach was all about. Because honestly speaking, some of these issues which we complain about, it's nothing to do with the people we hook up with, we end up being with. But it's a lot to do with who we are, how we contribute to this issue because of how we think, how we have made up a certain perception, a certain story about relationships, what we expect in relationships. And from where are you expecting these issues, So in future we'll be just reading some issues, some conflicts, because we are concentrating more on conflicts in relationships, our conflicting selves, because it's easy to conflict with someone else than for you to realize the conflict which you're having on your own when you're conflicting yourself, because the reality of the matter will be showing you something than what you perceive might be right. So anyway, thanks so much for joining. I'll be recording in every 2 weeks, and I'll be posting here on YouTube until I'll start doing live recordings. But I've been doing live recordings on Facebook, where I still do some sessions with my husband where we talk about family life. So I realized that, sometimes we're interested in having a family, but we are not interested in understanding what kind of a family we need to bring out. because it all starts, from the beginning. How can we expect a better ending when we have started on a wrong, pitch, So we really want to work on how we start the relationships. I think the problems which we realize later in marriage, are a result of some of the loopholes which we don't really look into, during our dating moments. And I enjoy talking about dating because you can imagine most of the ideas which we have towards relationships were ideas which we came from from school. We realized these ideas, from maybe some relationships within the family. And were they really good relationships after all? I don't know. Some of them, you look into the relationships of your parents. Apparently this morning I was just having a chat with some girl, and she was telling me how much, her relationship is not working out well for the past 4 years. Not working out well now, but I mean for the past 4 years. She can't make a decision. She can't make a decision on a man who is mistreating her. She can't make a decision because she is enjoying the stories she has in her own perceptions, how her fears have taken advantage of her, her fears of divorce because her parents have been divorced. She grew up in a family, in a separated family. So relationships, they can become very confusing, especially if we get in them to be a solution of another relationship which you saw somewhere not working out well. It can be your parents' relationship. Now you get in to say, I want to make it work. You want to challenge that kind of a relationship which you saw growing up, but at the same time your own relationship might maybe be even more risky for you to stay in it. So to me, really, I feel that relationships need that a strategy which makes you to realize that you are the important person after all. Because for us to talk about partnerships, we are talking about you engaging your stake on someone, with someone, and who is the someone, Are you just getting in a relationship because you're lonely? Are you just getting in there because you're desperate? Are you just getting in there because you just want to get married? You just want a wedding gown, You don't care what's going to happen after the wedding. You don't care about the children you are going to grow in that family. You're going to raise, you're going to raise these children in such a family where you're always quarreling, you're always not, just doing everything unhealthy, in the relationship. I don't think it profits anybody, So relationships really, if they are not dealt well, will end up being in the domestic violence problem. But now, for me, I always say that domestic violence, anyone can be prone to that, especially if we are not able to resolve our conflicts very healthy, if we are not able to do a lot of reflection work on ourselves. So on this relationship preview recording, my idea was to discuss issues which makes us to fall. You realize that we've never been taught how to be in a good relationship. We've never been taught. We know what a good relationship looks like, but we don't know that is an end result of working. It's a process, of working that relationship to go to that level where we want that picture perfect relationship where we are so happy, people will be commenting about us and talking about our relationship, but it's a process for us to get to that place, Some of us, we grew up watching cartoons, which has made us to realize that there's a happily ever after, but have we ever been taught that you need to be happy for you to be in that happily ever after? Because at the end of the day, a relationship cannot guarantee you a happily ever after. So some of the relationships, they end up being in conflict because the idea of a relationship they wanted, the happily ever after they wanted, did not happen. They're expecting the person to be home so that they can have the happily ever after, but then still the person will be like, what, this is not what I want. I don't want to spend time here or at home with you. Do we plan on how we spend our time together or apart as as being in a relationship? Do we have to suffocate each other, in a relationship? Those are the issues which we'll be talking about in other videos, which I'll be recording. Hopefully you'll be joining me in a fortnight recording, which I'll be posting on YouTube. So I don't know your take on this issue, and I'll be so much happy to read your comments and to find out also from you the disappointments you got, in getting in relationships without being really informed. Because you can imagine some of us, we grew up in countries where you don't talk about relationships with your parents, you don't talk about relationships with your sisters, your elder sisters. Some of them, they'll be like motherly to you. You can't even talk about how you feel. We've never learned on how to know our feelings. So the moment you start getting in a relationship, there's this excitement you get, that positive, vibe you have, the emotions, the lovely emotions you feel in a relationship, the excitement now, which is now that which we translate to love. Was love all about the feelings? Now that's where the question is, the excitement, the butterflies we felt, so you can imagine a marriage that resulted from a butterfly feeling, when it was just a mere feeling of excitement. You start talking about chemistry, you start talking about all these loads of things, then there you are, reality knocks on you, you get in a relationship, then the relationship really starts showing, its dynamics, that this is where we are going. Then are you able to to withstand from this, or are you able to look into it and say, this is not what I want? It's not easy for most people to know what they want and to go for what they want. It's not easy for most people to let go, even for relationships not working out, because to you it's like, at least I've found someone, at least I have got the person I've been looking for. I've been lonely for a long time. Now I found someone. Or, I found a vacant. It's a person who has just, lost the relationship. So I can just get in and just be, a solution to them, not to you. Imagine, we get in a relationship to fix people. At least if I can fix him a little bit, then he can become mine, then I can enjoy this relationship. If at least I can make him better, if at least maybe, I wait on them to change on me, has it worked? Come on, share with me. Has it worked in previous relationship strategies which you have been using, if you have been using it like that? So don't you feel that there's a need really to look into, our way of entering in relationships, our way of maintaining relationships? Because it's one thing, getting in a relationship is another, to maintain them. So relationships tend to be very confusing, especially when we get in them so naive and not really understanding what we want from them. You get in and you expect everything just to be there. Then you start to say, you lied to me. Did anyone lie to you guys? There are many guys you hold on to, and you start talking about heartbreaks. How can you not have a heartbreak when you enter into something expecting that things are going to be like this, and you don't share your expectations, you don't normalize your expectations? Because at the end of the day, relationships have been taken to be a place where people have to be ignorant. People have to be in this wonderland where they've got a lot of expectations, and most of these expectations not even realistically met, and some not shared for the person to understand them. So I just thought of this and thought, let me just do a 20-minute video recording on introducing on our relationship preview, where we are going to talk about relationships review, where we review our approach. How have we been attempting on relationships? The kind of people we get attracted to, why we don't get attracted to certain people, why maybe where we are at is a problem which has resulted from, trying to make relationships to fill a gap in us, when we have a role to play in the relationships to fill a gap in ourselves. Relationships needs people who are healthy as well. We've got the right mind, Just like any other contract, marriages, I know you know that there are contracts. There's that signing, where it's a contract. Anything you get in a contract on, you have to be having enough information. How many people got married without even knowing the section of their wedding? I'm one of them. You start knowing on all these things when people are asking you. So now that you are preparing on a divorce, or now that you're preparing on a marriage, do you understand the marriage which you want? Do you understand the marriage which you had? Was it in community or out of community? What does it all mean anyway? You just enter. Just as long as I've got my ring on, I don't care. I just want a ring, so I just sign my papers. Then to later realize that there is more which is needed from you. So I think we have been so much ignorant for a long time. And I don't think I want my children to enter in marriages which they don't understand. And after all, they need to understand themselves before they can engage anyone in any relationship. Because, honestly, you can't lead another blind man, can you? No, you can't. So I think we've been expecting too much outcome. We've been expecting better things to happen in relationships that we never planned well, and we start complaining on a lot of things, which when we get to ask ourselves, but what were we thinking? The kind of people you were dating, some people, you get into relationships because you were lacking the things which they were showing you. Then you start to translate love from basis that they have what you wanted. No. Let's not define food because of our hunger. We can't define relationships because we are hungry. We don't have a financial stability. We can't say I love this person because they drive a Mercedes Benz. Because they buy me chicken. We go for a movie. The day you start taking yourself for a movie and buying yourself a car, you will feel being shortchanged, because some people you thought you loved, you never loved them. You loved what they had, which you lacked. It's very disappointing to know, that, you shortchanged yourself. Sometimes you let go of the people who really loved you because you didn't know. Because you really didn't know. You were running after what people had, but not what you had, for them. Because love is not like someone has to be opening a door for you, so that they can unlock all those lovely, feelings which you want. Is that love? Is love, just about feelings? Is it about emotions, I think because we don't understand our emotions very well, we try to confuse the two. We confuse the emotions which we feel. We confuse it with love. Because there were guys, you'd feel that emotion, that strong emotion, but it never lasted. It never went anywhere. It was never love, So it was just feelings. It was emotions, excitement, So I bet with these discussions, the outcome of this program, which I am on relationships awareness, is that people can enter in relationship with their conscious mind. They enter in relationships with their mind, knowing what relationship is all about, what they want, what they expect, the questions they need to ask. Because most people end up married to people they didn't know. They start wanting to know them when they are married. Honestly, some of these issues, we should have known them before making the decision of getting married to the people we are with. So no wonder why there are a lot of divorces, because the approaches which we have been, making towards relationship, I think it was never strategic. If you look into business, to be honest, I think we know of balance sheet. We need to look into what we have and, what we lost. And, some of the relationships, I think they became a loss, so much that they drained people. They end up even continually to be drained. And it is at this point that we hope that these discussions which I'll be making, these are my views, which I think, and you've got every right to think otherwise. And hopefully these discussions will get into the right people's ears, people who really need this, people who feel that they need a change. They need to change on their strategy, on their concept, on their views on how they perceive relationships and love, what love is all about. And this may reduce on conflicts as well. And when people want to be out of the relationship, for them to accept, and for them to accept that, what, I need to make a decision when I'm not happy with something. If I've tried, I've given the person many chances and they are not, and what they're offering me is something which, erodes my confidence, it's something which makes me to lose myself, then the purpose of the relationship might not be, it might not be there. So it's getting cold now where I'm parked, and thank you so much for the conversation. It was really nice, and hope you will join in soon when I'm to record again. Thank you so much for joining, and I want to thank my daughter for helping me, motivating me to be on YouTube, and hopefully it will be a good experience for me being on YouTube. Thank you. Please subscribe and follow my channel. Thank you.